over double the speed of the shock cords, and 33% faster than the military bungee.
Hey, Jamie, it went over the truck and it hit the wall. I think we have our answer, or part of it.
The surgical rubber delivered double the distance of the next best, the military bungee. But could the pullback be a problem?
Best performer we've had so far in our testing is the surgical tubing, the 1/4-inch surgical tubing. It way outperformed the other materials. However, when we scale it up, you might have to drag 6 strands of surgical tubing like 200 feet. And that's just not feasible for us. We may end up going with something like the military bungee, which has a less of a throw, but also less of a pullback, just to be realistic about how to get the slingshot to work.
Which means there's more testing to do. They want to know whether doubling the length of the sling or doubling the number of slings doubles the distance that the projectile is launched. And if you double the weight of the projectile, do you have the distance? In other words, is the relationship linear?
Okay, I'm going to put in the 2 kilo. 3, 2, 1.
That's 27.9. Next is a 1/2 kilo. I hit the wall.
104 feet.
This is a 1 kilo ball. Worst case scenario is that I get hit in the ghoulies by these strands. Oh! Oh, what is it the other yard? 230 feet, I guess. That's what we call a home run.
Eventually, the slingshot testathon has run its course, and every combination of rubber and missile has been tried out.
65.
So, time for some serious number crunching to see if this myth could really fly.
Well, I think we've got some really good data so far. What has it told us?
Well, it told us that surgical rubber tubing is our best bet. It way outperformed the other rubber.
Yeah, and even though it's got such a much greater pullback length than the other things we tried, I don't think that's such a problem, because our data really shows that we get the same increase in throwing distance by doubling the number of bands as we do by doubling their length. So we don't need super long bands, we just need many more short ones.
Okay, so we're going to get a bunch of surgical rubber. What do you think? Are we ready to go full scale yet?
I'm not so sure we should go right to full scale. This is a lot of material we're talking about. I'd like to do one more interim test just to make sure all our figures are dialed in.
Yeah, this is a big deal. That'd be the safest thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before they commit themselves, they need to fill in some gaps in their knowledge of the properties of surgical rubber.
There's a few factors we still don't know about it. We don't know what its maximum pull strength is, its breaking strength, and we don't know how long that will be. So if we have a 10-foot length, we don't know whether it'll pull to 40, 60, 70 feet.
So they set up a strainometer, which involves a measuring strip, a scale, a forklift, and a 10-foot length of 1-inch surgical tubing.
Okay, you ready? 50 pounds.
Okay, he's at 40 feet.
We're at 70 pounds.
Okay, we're at 50 feet.
We're at 100 pounds.
Okay, now you're in the danger zone. Did you see what it was?
It looks like on this one we got to about 150 pounds.
The 10-foot length of rubber snapped at 60 feet, a ratio of 6 to 1.
It's pretty chunked up. I mean, it definitely spikes right there after a 5 to 1 pull.
Yeah.
That's like 5 to 1 is its maximum ability.
Which means 50 feet is the safe pullback limit for a 10-foot length of surgical rubber. Now, they need to know just one more crucial number.
Well, this might look like one of the lost scene stones from The Lord of the Rings. In fact, it's an 8-pound bowling ball, and this is part of our next scaling up of the border slingshot. When I'm done with this, it's going to weigh just about 8 kilos, which is roughly 1/10 of Buster's final weight.
And that will give them the magic figure they need. A successful bowling ball flight will let them scale up for the big one by a factor of 10.
What we're going to do with this is we're going to take it out to a unsuspecting football field, rig up our surgical tubing and our other stuff to the goal posts, turning them into an excessively large slingshot, and we're going to embed this probably in the next town.
First, Adam must increase the weight of the bowling ball.
What is this thing made of?
Here comes trouble.
It's the world's biggest basketball.
And that's the end of that experiment.
Well, there's your problem. I did something I didn't think was humanly possible. I broke a big chunk out of our bowling ball.
Is it still going to fire?
Oh, it's still going to fire. All it needs to be is round and heavy.
Well, also,
Damaging your floors?
Adam lives and Adam learns.
I'm going to continue the destruction of this thing.
Let's face it, it's what he does best.
Okay, that was easy. I'm okay. It's got a creamy nougat center.
He drills a hole and fills it with lead.
Perfect. 17.6.
In other words, 8 kilos. 10 death balls, and you've got yourself one buster.
I had kind of an idea. Since this is so flexible, what if we put some guy wires or guy ropes on it?
I think that's absolutely what we should do.
Like good Mythbusters, they've brought enough rope to lasso a small country. Adam ties the guy wires off to a couple of cars, then measures out the firing range.
I'm marking out 50-foot increments of how far our target should go, and it's looking pretty unreasonable. I don't think we'll even get the bowling ball more than 150 feet, if that.
And by the time he reaches 450 feet, he's even less optimistic.
The myth is that these people slingshotting themselves over the border are traveling another 150 feet that way. 300 yards, that's 600 feet. Look what's out there. I don't think so.
To get an idea of just how far that is, here's human cannonball David Smith Jr. cannonballing 170 feet. It's a spectacular flight, but it's not even 1/3 of the distance claimed in the border slingshot myth. It's one heck of a long shot. Just to make sure that the goalposts can take the strain, they decide to kick things off with a lesser weight.
The 1-inch surgical tubing with the 2-kilo ball?
Yep.
10 feet on each side.
Yep. And 3, 2, 1.
Whoa!
The slingshot becomes a boomerang.
That was the scariest thing I've ever done on this show. That was terrifying.
Terror. It's hilarious. So what went wrong?
The hazards of giant slingshot making. Jamie added a little extra chain to his ball basket so we could hopefully keep the balls in and not have them fall out. And, well, that extra piece of chain seems to have held it in because that ball went up and then came right back down at us. Oh, that was scary.
One near-death experience per myth is about enough.
Oh, is this a recipe for disaster or what?
So they decide to relaunch with an automatic firing mechanism, complete with safety pin and remote triggering device.
Okay, so this is the 2-kilo ball with 10 feet of 1-inch surgical tubing. Second try. 3, 2, 1.
We have liftoff.
Damn.
I'll be darned, that went a lot farther than I thought it would.
Well, I can see where it landed. 205 feet.
So what's next? Do we go up to the 4 kilo?
I think it's time to double up the bungee and go for the bowling ball.
So, 2 10-foot lengths of 1-inch surgical rubber tubing on each side and an 8-kilo death ball in the middle. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, we're about to launch an 8-kilogram bowling ball with the world's second biggest slingshot. The biggest hasn't been built yet. It is only in the mind of the Mythbusters at this point.
Which is probably the safest place for it.
3, 2, 1. Oh! Hey, that was thrilling!
The bowling ball got snagged by the basket and only traveled 21 feet. For quick release, they weave a makeshift basket out of line.
Look at that.